Now I'm like, oh my God, is it gonna stop?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's never gonna stop. So, and then X is in the back, like, yeah, what's we doing?
And nobody telling X
and
no.
And then you ain't telling X no. Then he went like X up.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Qualified Conversations, where we have in-depth conversations with people who are, in fact, qualified. So, today, we have an extremely special guest who is an entrepreneur in the fashion, in the music world. I'm very, very, very interested for y'all to hear her story. And I just can't wait to just get into all of the amazing, wonderful things she's done, as well as what she will continue to do, and even some things that she's working on right now. So without further ado, we have with us Clem Carrington.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for coming. And, you know, it's really dope, right? I mean, we don't necessarily have to get into all of the intricacies of how the origin of our relationship, but as we kind of just started to chop it up about music and fashion and all of these different things, I saw a lot of you, or a lot of me and you. How is it? How do you say it when you're bigging the other person up? A lot of you
and me.
A lot of you and me, right? Or me and you.
Me,
whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, right? I was
I
inspired and I was like, wow, because, you know, I have, you know, a background in music and in fashion and all of these different things, but to hear some of your story was just amazing. So I want to take it from the beginning. So let's take it back to Brooklyn. Born and raised Brooklyn.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn's always in the house. I remember a couple years ago, Spike Lee did a collaboration with Absolute. And it was a special bottle that they had. And one of my men, shouts to the homie, is from Brooklyn. And so anything Brooklyn, you already know how y'all is. Brooklyn pride, y'all going every time, right? So it was a big saying. And it said, Brooklyn's always in the house. Everywhere in the world.
And it's true.
No matter where you go, somebody from Brooklyn in the building.
That's very true.
So, we got you born and raised Brooklyn. What part of Brooklyn?
Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Biggie. All
right, so Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Let's take us back a little bit. So, old Brooklyn, like Hov said, old Brooklyn, not this new shit. This seemed like a spoof, right?
Yeah.
Take us back growing up in Brooklyn. What is the origin story? Is it household with a bunch of siblings? Is it single parent household? Is it, you know, kind of just get into what life looked like as a young girl coming up in Brooklyn?
Okay, as a young girl coming up, first of all, Clem was always a very inspiring person. I always wanted to do something famous. You know, my mom used to have this saying, she used to say, stop the acting. And she said that for a reason, because I was always acting. I was always trying to be something that I thought inside was there, but I just didn't know how to tap into it yet. So I was just very curious about a lot of stuff growing up. I grew up in a house with my mom, my stepdad that raised me, who became, I say, my biological dad, even though I still had my biological dad. But my mom took on her sister's 4 kids. So my mom had 3. And then she took in 4 more. Okay. But we lived in a brownstone. We had a whole house. And we grew up in a house. And when they came, we were like, oh, boy, because, you know, we were used to having our own rooms and all this. And my mom was like, this is a big house. We don't have to share any rooms. They're going to have their own space. But we want to treat them equal. You know, whatever you guys get, they're going to get. So we ended up having like this huge family, which made it dope because it was just me, my sister, and my little brother. But we used to do talent shows in the living room on Saturdays. You know, we clean up. We watched the Jackson 5 cartoon. Right. My mom playing the old music and the big old radio and stuff like that. So, you know, it's like the typical growing up. You clean up on Saturdays. You go outside, you run, you play with your friends after you clean up and do your chores. But I was different. Like a lot of kids would play the games, but I wanted to kind of like get dressed up. I'll be sitting on my step, and they say, why you all dressed up? You going out? I'm like, no, I don't play games. And they used to say, what do you mean you don't play games? Because I wanted to be fancy. I wanted to be like, it was always about my clothes and my style. But I didn't know why I was like that. I just knew I didn't want to get dirty like the rest of the kids. I didn't want to wear dirty sneakers. I wanted to wear shoes. So I was never a big sneakerhead person. I wanted to be dressed like nice blouses, nice jeans. And my mom was like, well, I don't know what's wrong with this girl, but, you know, we're going to let her do what she like to do as long as she don't get out of line. So a lot of that stuff played a role in me meeting other girls who kind of was into wanting to sing, wanting to dance. My next door neighbor, Michelle, shout out to her, retired police officer now. We had formed this little group, and it was like 4 of us because we used to like En Vogue. So we formed this little group, and I used to couldn't sing, but I thought I could sing, and they put me in the background, and we would just like go in the basement, shoot videos, singing cover songs, and you know, one thing led to another, and we had like little talent shows and stuff like that. But that was me learning about what that industry was kind of like going out and doing. I used to do auditions. There used to be this newspaper called Backstage.
Yeah.
I would go to Backstage and just go up to any audition. I end up auditioning for the Fly Girls. I don't know if y'all remember.
Of course, and
Live in Color.
Yeah.
I actually got to audition at the same audition as Jennifer Lopez, and I made it to the 10 callback. I cut hooky school that day. It was I used to go to Washington Irving High School, which was right up the block from the Palladium, and I had found out, oh wow, the audition is going to be on the corner. So I was like, I can't go to school because I want to go to the audition, but I know if my mom found out I didn't go to school and be in trouble. So I was like, you know what do? You just take a chance. So I took a chance, put on my Reebok shirt, my leggings, my Reeboks, and I'm like, I'm going in, I'm going to go hard.
Yeah.
So I got there, and they had Flex Alexander and Rosie Perez. They were our choreographers to give us the routine. So we, I just got in there and did what I had to do, and I got to stay back with the 10 top people. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm getting close. So, you're getting all excited. I'm like, all right. Now they interviewing me. Why you want to be a fly girl? I'm like, because I'm from Brooklyn. I'm doing all of that. And then, they said, well, listen, we got a surprise, since you guys are the 10 final people that we keep in here, we're going to let y'all stay because it's Keenan's birthday. And we're going to be singing happy birthday. So I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to get to meet the guy. So, long story short, they ended up picking Jennifer Lopez, and I found out later that it was just a replacement. So they needed somebody that looked like the girl that was leaving. So not to say she'd take anything from her, because she was an incredible dancer.
She's dope. She was dope.
We didn't stand a chance. You know what I mean? We didn't stand a chance. We didn't have a look. So, but it was a great experience. We got to stay back, say happy birthday. I met some girls from Boston, from LA. I met a lot of dope dancers. I was more of a street type dancer because I used to go to a lot of house parties. So I was all into the house music and the hip hop. And these girls was like accredited dancers, like went to ballet school and this. And I said I took a little modern dance and tap, but I ain't doing no whole splits and flipping and stuff like that. But I had the personality more or less than anything else, and I was just really confident that I could do a little bit. They got something, I got something too. So it was never about me being afraid, and I think that's what has helped me throughout my whole life is that I'm just a person that you put me in a spot, I'm in the room.
And now that comes from at home, like you saw mom, you saw dad, you saw people in your neighborhood that made you feel like you had the confidence, or what gave you the nerve to even have confidence?
Well,
was it your siblings? Like what,
It was kind of, I was kind of different. My sister, she's very rough, tough. She ain't play no games. She ready to beat you up in 5 minutes. My brother was more about, he wanted to learn how to make money. I was more about, I don't know why. I used to like Hollywood. Like I used to watch old black and white movies. I just was always inspired to say like, I think I could do that because I had a lot of personality.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out how to challenge that personality to do something to just be, not really famous, but to just be talented.
Yeah.
And my dad was a military guy, so he always taught me about being strong, speak up, don't be afraid, quiet mouths don't get fed, closed mouths don't get fed, and I took that very serious. So whenever opportunity was there for me, I spoke up. You know how they say the first person raise their hand, get to answer the question? That was me every time. If I'm somewhere and there's something going down, I'm like, hello, what's going on? I'm here, my name is Clem, how y'all doing? I'm making friends, I'm talking to everybody. And he just say, yo, when she's in the room, she lights the room up. I'm very funny. I like to laugh. I like to joke around.
Who told you it was funny?
A lot of people.
Like,
we ain't even gonna go there.
I played.
That was my other life. I thought I was a comedian back in the day. But no, it's just that I just like to see everybody having a good time.
Right.
So that's where the personality of making people laugh. It's just like I just want it to be a good energy when I'm in the room. I want everybody to feel comfortable. I'm a person like to meet and greet and merge and just get everybody to feel like, just because we don't know each other don't mean we don't know each other.
Right.
And my thing is about just getting to know where you from, who you are, how you doing, because you never know. Like I just met you not too long ago. Look at all the similarities. Look at all the different things we had in common. And if I didn't talk to you that day, we wouldn't be doing this
We
interview.
wouldn't be doing this interview.
So, me talking gets things done. So I appreciate the fact
Say that.
for you to listen, because, you never know who you're talking to. That's why it's important to talk to everybody, because you could be talking to somebody that is of purpose, so.
That's a bar. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. You never know who you could be talking to.
Exactly.
You never know who you could be talking to, so speak to everybody.
Everybody.
Speak to everybody. And, not on some weirdo vibes, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's an appropriate way to approach people.
Right.
And it's not, you just don't bombard your way
Sure.
into, people's space. But, you know when it's the right time to talk, and you know when it's the right time to shut up,
Well, some people.
Right. But my thing is, I do also know how to be quiet, because it's times you need to be a great listener as much as a talker. And when the time is for you to be a listener, I like to listen, because, I'm all about learning, and you can learn from a kid. So I'm always, as much as I talk, I listen,
So, all right. Listening to you speak about, your upbringing, or kind of just what your vibe was, your mentality, and your mindset. As a youth in Brooklyn, right, coming up, as you're inspired by hip hop culture, right? Because hip hop, we know today in 2023, 2024, it's definitely not the same, but it's taken the world by storm, right? It's the number one genre. They finally admitted it. But in its early stages, who were some of your fashion inspirations, like, especially as a woman or as a young girl, female, teenager, what have you? You have your Salt and Peppers and Those of the World. Like, so what was some of your inspirations fashion-wise? Because they made a lot of statements.
I like Salt and Pepper was one. I like Sweet Tea. The girl rapper Sweet Tea. I thought she was very sexy and cute. MC Light, of course. She was at the number one, actually. She was my number one. I liked her one because she's from Brooklyn. You know that. I thought she wore the dopest hairdos because, back in the days we had all the asymmetric styles and all that stuff. The big bamboo earrings. I thought she was bringing the hip-hop culture really to the forefront for ladies. Of course, Queen Latifah and Moni Love. Those were some of the ladies that I kind of looked up to and got a lot of style. And, I was trying to emulate and take what they had, but make it my own. Right, but made it my own. So I was all into the acid wash jeans, tie-dye. People familiar in Brooklyn, we used to go to the mall in Queens, and they had these guys called Shirt Kings, and they used to spray paint your T-shirts for you. So I was all about the graffiti, wearing the T-shirts, the different types of acid wash two-tone jeans and stuff like that. So, they did give me a lot of inspiration looking at the videos, when the videos first started to air on the TV. And I'm like, wow, these people really got style, looking at Special Ed and all these other rappers. And I thought, I need to start changing up. The kids on the block, you wore what your mom bought you.
Right.
I wasn't trying to hear that. My mother brought me a jacket, I'm cutting it up. My mother brought me a sweater, I'm adding something to it. Because I was just trying to find my way of making my stuff different. So when we go to school, everybody's like, wow, how your jeans got that fabric stuff on the side? I'm like, I did that.
Yeah.
Just to be like, oh, you could do that for me? And I'm like, nah, this is original. I can't let you wear what I wear. I got to be different. So that was my whole thing. It's like when I saw people wearing the 8-ball jackets, I was like, my mom's like, you're not getting that. That's not for you. You don't wear an 8-ball jacket. I'm like, why can't we wear an 8-ball jacket? It's like, you're not ready for an 8-ball jacket. You're a little girl. What do you know about 8-ball jackets? So I'm like, okay. So I went and got a denim jacket, and I put a number on the back because I used to play basketball. I put a number 6 on the back. So I'm rocking my number 6 jacket. And they like, oh, you got a bootleg 8-ball. So I'm like, no, this is just my own little way of having my own version of a number jacket. Because back then they had the 8-ball jacket going on. But just to say, needless to say, that whole little small part of hip-hop played the fashion role in my life, because that's when I started really taking notice to, like, fashion and style and different kinds of ways you can flip things and wear things. So,
and it was booming at that time, man. There was just so much energy around that time, because we're talking late 80s at this point, right? And it's just so much energy. A lot of people refer to it as the golden era, right? And especially being in New York City at that time, it's no place in the world that was more electrifying at that time when we're talking about music and we're talking about fashion. And hip-hop culture collide and street culture, because hip-hop is from the streets, right? And so just speaking about the culture and being inspired by the culture, all of these inspirations that you have fashion-wise within the culture, at what point does that big switch get turned on when you say, because you always wanted to be different, right? You did the 6 instead of the 8-ball. You cut this up if she bought you that. But things did turn up a notch, right? I know the origin once we get into early 90s. Walk me up into that late 80s, early 90s, and the moment where you really said, I'm about to go after it.
Okay. Well, that was the 90s.
Okay.
What happened was I had a lot of friends. I know a lot of people in Brooklyn that's doing a lot of different things. So because at that time, I was really into the fashion, heavy. Now I'm like in my 20s, like 20, 21. So I'm like wearing all types of stuff. I got ostrich leather jackets. I'm coming through. They knew me for the shoes. They're like, this girl's always fly. So I had some friends, Kenny Smooth. Shout out to Kenny Smooth and Spoil Rotten Entertainment. At the time, they were merging with Heavy D and the Boys and Eddie F. So Kenny, we used to go up to his studio up in Van Helen, New York. And at the time, they were doing Changing Faces. I don't know if y'all familiar with Changing Faces, but that was the group at the time. And Kenny's like, yo, Clem, you so dope. You dress so fly. You need to dress those girls. We got a new group. So I said, what's the new group? He goes, oh, Changing Faces. You need to come into the studio, meet them. So I go up to the studio. I meet the two girls, Sharice and... oh gosh, they're gonna kill me. Sharice and I can't get that one's name. Oh my God. But anyway.
Charge it to my head, not my heart.
I'll get right. I'll get it right. I'll get it right in a minute. But anyway, I meet the girls from Changing Faces and Cassandra. Sharice and Cassandra. There you go, because Cassandra's my girl. Cassandra and Sharice. So they say, why don't you do their video? They getting ready to shoot a video with R. Kelly called Stroke You Up. You should go up to the record label, meet. I went up to the record label, so they said, you're going to have to meet.
Hold on, I'm sorry, though. It's just so crazy, because Cal's is the GOAT. And I know we're taking the sidebar. Cal's, in my opinion, right, is the GOAT as far as R&B is concerned, right?
I love him.
But it's just so funny, because he been on it like that since day one.
And this is early 90s.
Stroke You Up is crazy, pause. But continue.
So anyway, so I go up to Atlantic Records, and they say, you're going to come in, sit with the meeting. They're going to be talking about how they're going to, bring the girls out, the new projects that they got going on for the girls. So I'm sitting through the whole project, which was a blessing. When I got to meet them, they were in the middle of just getting ready to sign their deal, getting ready to get the budget for the first video. So I'm like in the mix of the brand new everything.
Like,
so I'm sitting there helping them. Right. So now I'm getting introduced to the industry, because I'm up there at Atlantic Records, and I'm talking to Craig Coleman at the time, who is the man of Atlantic Records. And he's like, hey, you're a nice looking girl. He's like, if you do good with these girls, we got more girls. And I'm like, more girls? Who could the other girls be? And lo and behold, I got Brandy. I got Aaliyah. So I'm like, oh man, so I got more opportunity. Then he said, and we got Brownstone. He said, so you got to make this really happen. So I'm like, oh, I'm all in. So, we have the meeting. The girls, now we becoming friends. We're traveling with them. Sharnice, who was the road manager at the time with Eddie Lee, they used to go on the road with them all the time. So they said, you need to come on the road, start working with us more. So I got on the road with them. Now I'm introduced to going on the road, doing these promo shows everywhere, and dressing the girls. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I like this. So we do the video. Fast forward, we do the video for Stroke You Up out in Chicago, R. Kelly's town. We actually shooting it in the Schweppes Ginger Ale owner's house. It's a mansion owned by the heirs of Schweppes Ginger Ale. So I'm like, whoa, look at this house. Crazy. So we go in, and that's the entryway where you see the two lions at the gate. When we got to the gate, I'm like, who lives in here? And they're like, this is the people who own Schweppes Ginger Ale. I'm like, what? So we in there, we shoot the video. The video turns out great. And long story short, becomes a success. Then they say, Clem, we got a little surprise for you. I look on the back of the CD. They give me credit on the back of the CD. So I'm like, oh, wow. Now my name is on the back of somebody's CD. So now it gives me the opportunity to now style. So that's when Clem the Stylist comes about.
Now slow down. Clem the Stylist is birthed, and this new thing is about to happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel? Obviously, you're happy and all those different things, but like, if you can go back to these moments, because I'm trying to get you to narrate and articulate for the people all of the different stages in your journey in ascension, right? So, like, what did that feel like? I mean, I'm sure you were happy, but kind of take us back.
Not knowing. Okay. Really, you know what I mean? It's like the crazy part of my early stage in my life is that I was in a room with some big people, and I had no idea who these people were. So me just being the person that I am, I'm just doing the job. To me, I'm just working.
Right.
I'm just getting another check. So I didn't really take in heed that these are people that could change your life,
Right.
and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like working, and that's my effort anyway. I'm the type of person, I just want to get the job done. So I don't care who it's for. I don't even see you. I'm just getting the job done. So that was kind of my headspace at that time. So I'm just working, giving it all I got, trying to put the best effort forward so it can be recognized,
Right.
and I can get those other artists he kept talking about. And sure enough, I got to work with Aaliyah. I got to work with Brandy. I got to work with Brown. So now I'm like, okay, now I realize, okay, you got to make a name for yourself. So I go and make me some business cards. I'm getting ready to get to the business. So I go back to Kenny Smooth, and I'm like, listen, this is crazy. I'm like, everybody's calling my phone. They're telling me they want me to come work. Now I got people from Diddy calling me, talking about they want me to work with 112. They want me to work with Total. I'm like, this is getting crazier and crazier. He's like, listen, it's your time. He's like, take every phone call, turn nothing down. And that was my mindset. It's like every time somebody called that, I had the small little flip phone, and everybody called my phone. I'm like, hold on. Got to act like I'm all important. I'm like, hold on, let me see. Let me check. I ain't had no calendar. I ain't have nothing. I'm like, let me see. You available? Because one thing I learned in the industry, you just got to be ready. There's no certain time of day. It's just, if they call you at 2 a.m, you better be ready.
You better be.
That's the only way you're going to get it. You got to be ready. And that was my mindset. It's like, I'm always up.
Now, let me ask you this, right? Do you ever think about being spoiled for being born where you were born? Meaning, it's Brooklyn, it's New York City. So, yeah, it's the inner city. Maybe you weren't from the slum or the slums, but it certainly wasn't a white picket fence, right?
Not at all.
And so, but it's New York City, right? Everything's in New York, especially at that time. That's the epicenter of the world as far as entertainment is concerned, right?
Correct.
So you ever look back even now and think, man, like I was really just blessed and fortunate to just end up being born in this place that's a melting pot for all of these different vibes? Because what you're saying, somebody in Milwaukee might be watching and listening to like, wow, that's awesome and that's cool, but I ain't had no opportunity.
Right.
Queen Latifah wasn't over here.
Right,
MC
right.
Light didn't go to this school where I saw, Heavy D or whatever, right? So like, do you ever think about that and just think of maybe it's just luck of the draw, but wow?
But in a way, yeah, but then in a way, no.
Okay.
Because even though I was born and raised in Brooklyn, people wasn't in my immediate area. My
Right.
thing
You
was
had
I
to
had
be
to
outside.
get out.
You
I
had
had
to
to
be
go
outside.
outside.
Yeah.
I had to go to the clubs when I'm not supposed to be in the club. They was in Nails. They was hanging in all the little hot spots. And I had to find my way to get in these clubs so I could meet these people. And then when you know one person, and then, you had to dress cute. You had to look like somebody so
Right.
they can want to take you around with them. And they would say, yo, that's my friend over there. You need to go talk to them. And you need to talk to them. And you need to talk to them. And, then I went to school with a lot of them. Like Stanley Brown, that was my boy back in the days. He used to work with Teddy Riley and them. He was doing all of the Teddy Riley stuff. So I'm hanging out with him, and he's like, Clem, you need to come to Nails to open mic. So I go to open mic, and I'm looking at all these new faces that's coming up, and they're like just crazy. And I'm sitting here like, look at all this talent. He goes, I want you to go with me to Island Records tomorrow. I said, all right, I'll go with you. So now I'm in there, I'm talking to Hiram Hicks. He runs Island Records. So I'm like, how am I ending up in all these places? And lo and behold, I end up befriending with him, and they give me business. And now, one day I come, and Stanley's like, yo, you got a nice outfit you can wear, like something really, really crazy. I said, why? He's like, I'm taking you to the Grammys. I'm like, to the Grammys? And at the time, I was working across the street from Radio City Music Hall. That's when the Grammys was at.
Over there.
Radio City Music Hall. So I'm like, I'm going to the Grammys. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, damn, I don't even think I got nothing I could really wear.
Ain't no way.
Like, I don't
Ain't
know.
no way.
I'm like,
Ain't
I
no way.
can't
You
sew
gotta
nothing.
buy something for
right,
the
but I'm
Grammys.
saying,
Like,
I can't
yeah.
sew nothing that. I don't know nothing I can make. I can't patchwork nothing. This got to be like
Yeah,
100.
did some shit. It's
So
gotta
I
be,
said, well,
yeah.
listen, Stanley, I said, I definitely want to go. I said, don't count me out. Just give me some time. I got to figure out what I'm going to wear. So at the time, I had met Troy from 5001 Flavors. They used to make all the custom leather suits and all the stuff that Craig Mack was wearing and Diddy was wearing and Mace was wearing. And I'm like, I would like for them to make me something. So I called Troy. I'm like, Troy, could you, make me something? He's like, we really don't got time. We doing all this stuff for this video and this tour. So I'm like, damn, who can I meet? So I'm on the train going home getting nervous now. Like, damn, I got an invitation to the Grammys. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm sitting next to this guy, Asian guy. And I'm just talking. He's like, what's wrong? Because I'm looking, I guess you could see I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
So I said, I got an invitation to the Grammys, and I don't know what to do with the wear. He said, I sew. At the time,
Okay,
I'm living
here we
in
go.
Park Slope.
Here we go. We're turning
He
it
said,
up now. Here we go.
Sew. So I said,
Okay.
you sew? Like, you like make custom clothes? He go, yeah. I said, where do you live? Park Slope. I live in Park Slope. What street you live on? He said 13th Street. I live on 15th Street. We 2 blocks away. I said, oh, you near 8th Avenue? He said, I'm on 6th. I said, I'm coming to your house. I'm going to go buy some fabric, and I'm coming to your house. So I go to 39th Street. I buy some latex, some like spandex kind of fabric.
Okay.
He makes me a crazy dress, black dress, cutouts like the Tony Braskin look, and hook me up. So I'm like, wow, thank you. So he makes it. I get the dress. Later that evening, I get dressed. I meet them on 7th Avenue. Next thing I know, I'm walking down red carpet. We're going into the Grammys. I'm sitting in the Grammys. I'm seeing Whitney Houston, all these people. I don't still know
What year was this?
This is like, I want to say 94, 93, somewhere around that time.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dang, I can't believe I'm sitting here. Because it feel like when you're at the Apollo, because it's live, it's taping live, and everybody just looks so regular and normal. Everybody just sitting down, and I'm like, to myself, like, I'm at the Grammys. I don't got no record out. I'm not famous. I'm just here. And I see.
But you're invited here. You didn't buy a ticket. Yeah.
I'm sitting with, and then they like, yo, this ain't the end. They're like, yo, we flying out to L.A. I said, to L.A.? He's like, yeah, Clive Davis does a party. I'm like, I'm going to the party? He's like, you're going to the Clive Davis party. So long story short, I ended up going to L.A. with them, and I ended up in the party with Whitney Houston. And at the time,
rest in peace, Whitney Houston. We love you.
This girl was incredible when I met her. So I meet her and I meet Kelly Price.
Another great voice.
We in this party, and I mean, Whitney is cutting up. She like, yeah, she dancing. I'm from New Jersey. I'm from Newark. She club dancing.
Jersey.
So now I'm like, oh, she clubbed it.
I
love
house
music. So I'm like, I'm about to get in that circle in a minute. So steady, like, just don't get too crazy. You know, just be easy.
Like, nah,
I said, I said, listen,
we outside.
I'm gonna get to go in the circle with her.
We
I'm
outside.
going. So I ain't even hold back. I just went there and start killing it. And she's like, next thing I know, she high fiving. She's like, yeah, girl, this is what we talking about. And she could club dance her.
Of course, she's from Northeast Orange.
That's their genre
the thing.
of music.
So right when you said house, and it's a funny story, and I hate to cut you off, but it's a funny story because I'm from Jersey, and we dance and we do house, right?
Exactly.
So the funny thing about it is, you know, when I went away to school, shout out to Norfolk State University, but when I went away to school, and I met a lot of my friends who we're still brothers today, right? And all of them are from New York, and so that was one of the first times I realized that everybody didn't do house music.
They don't.
Because even my dudes from New York was like, yo, what is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, y'all right there. Y'all don't do this? Like,
it was like, out there, but it wasn't like the popular thing.
That time, because in that time, it was, though. In that time, it was more of that. Like, that was more the vibe.
That was the underground.
That was the underground, after hours. Like, that was.
I remember, like, going to school, I used to put, like, my sneakers, my leggings, my little dancing clothes in my book bag. And we go to Sound Factory. And my cousin put me on to something. He said, yo, you want to look like you really killing it? Bring some baby powder. I'm like, baby powder?
Oh, okay.
You pour that on the floor so you could glide and get with it. So I'm like, oh, this is what y'all be doing? So I'm coming with my baby powder. I said, I don't want it all over my clothes. He's like, nah, you just put a little bit and rub your feet in a circle. So it was me, my cousin Travis, and we had 2 other friends that was like real big time club heads. I mean, these dudes was nasty with it. So, you know, back to the whole thing.
So y'all dancing, y'all having a good time?
We having a good time. And he goes, you know, after this, we just gonna chill. So I was like, so this is Whitney Houston, right? He goes, yeah. I was like, yo, ain't nobody gonna ever. I wish I could just take a moment.
It wasn't no Instagram then.
It wasn't none of that.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a camera.
Of course not.
So I'm saying to myself, nobody's gonna believe this. Nobody's gonna believe that I actually got to dance and have a good time with these people. So I said, you know, this is just gonna be something I just always hold dear to me because it was a moment I would never forget.
Yeah.
So, you know, after that, it just started rolling, like flowing. And I guess that was my entrance into the industry where the doors got open for me, you know, and I started making my own waves after that. You know, I started connecting the dots and meeting with people and going to all the events and showing up at, you know, at the time, they used to have How Can I Be Down? I don't know if you remember that. That's way back.
I've heard of it.
How Can I Be Down was like a music conference that they used to hold in Miami.
Okay.
And it was just like everybody that was somebody in the music industry shows up in Miami. And it's almost like what we do for Magic for the fashion industry was what they were doing for the music industry.
Okay.
And I got to go to one of those How Can I Be Downs, and it was like, that's when I got to meet Atlanta. I never knew nothing about Atlanta, but it was so many people at How Can I Be Down from Atlanta that was just singing. They was on that Luke kind of vibe
That
music, that bounce
yeah.
music. And I'm like, wow, so Atlanta really got their own little thing going on too. So I got to kind of like learn a lot more at that conference about just how to move, how to just network myself, get my business straight, really become a business person,
Right.
and make a name for myself. And that's what I said, when I go home, I'm just going to focus and I'm just going to hit it hard. And that's pretty much what I started doing. And I didn't want to lose the fashion piece because that's who I am as a person. So I'm like, how can I keep the two? So I figured, you just do the styling, do some custom pieces. So I started changing faces where a lot of my custom made outfits. And if you ever look back, a lot of their performances, they had the little Toni Braxton look, a lot of little long sheer dresses with splits. It was what was out back then.
Right.
But I used to make my own styles of that, and they would wear it sometimes for me. And I just was feeling like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And the one thing I think that I wish I didn't do was allow myself to be pulled by so many people.
So you were able to still have control of the direction in which you were going. Because I was about to say being pulled, but you just said you weren't pulled. So you had enough, I guess, wherewithal to know, okay, I don't want to do that though, or I don't want to spread myself too thin. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Kind of, but I did spread myself too thin.
Okay.
That's the point I was making.
Okay.
It's like the industry is very fast paced.
Right.
And when you hot, that's your time. Everything happens in that moment. I mean, everything for you. And you either got to grab it and take it and run with it, or you could slow it down, but you might miss some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to keep moving and shaking it, because everything is happening. And it's like when they say it's your time, that's a real statement. When it's your time, it's your time. And everything's just going to be coming your way. You don't even know how you're going to handle it all, but you don't want to let nothing go.
Right.
So that was kind of the space I was in at that time. Everybody was just calling, and I was just doing this and doing that. And then I was like, Dad, I really want to do fashion. Music is starting to pull me a lot, but where's my fashion life? So I took a step back and I said, you know what? I want to start designing more because it's going to make sense if I'm styling that I can have some pieces.
Right.
So I started doing this thing called the Fashion Urban Lounge. It was these guys, Sean Mason, Everett, and Linwood. And they used to go to just regular nightclubs all around New York City, and they would give these fashion shows. And they called it the Urban Fashion Lounge. And because I had homeboy I met on the train,
Right.
this guy started sewing for me. His name was Jane. His name was Jang. And Jang.
Oh, Jang.
Jang.
I thought you said like Jane. I'm like,
Jang.
okay.
He was Philippine.
Okay.
And he just said, I'm all in, whatever you need to do. So I started going to the the garment district in Manhattan and buying fabrics, nylons, lacquers, and all that stuff. And he started making me collections so I can participate in that fashion lounge showcase every day. So I had my line, it was called Clem Carrington Worldwide. And they used to make it sound so big.
It sounds great though.
And I was like, because I had to find a name. So I was like,
but you have a great name for that, right? Like Donna Karen, it just flows. Like certain things just flow, right? Clem Carrington, it just
and
goes.
And that's what
like,
they were saying. The guy told me, he said, use your name. You got a dope fashion name. Don't try to be something else.
Because like, what kind of we're talking about more dressy things at this time?
It was a combination, because now when I'm starting to get into my fashion, the urban business start
booming.
That's when the urban business just bust out. Everybody, the baby fats, the Meccas, the Nietzsche's. So I'm like, dang, I got to switch it up.
Okay.
Because now I was doing more of the industry, flair, shiny.
Because it's just
sparkly,
inspired.
Because it's for the camera. But now everybody's getting into the streetwear. So you got all the sexy, but it's still sporty. So I'm like, I got to kind of bring it down so I can be in the mix with everybody else. So by me doing these fashion urban lounge showcases, I started doing, there was a company out called Cybertech. They used to do nylon sweatsuits with the reflectors. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they used to make some dope like parachute pants with all kind of pockets. So I was inspired by their stuff.
Okay.
So I started doing my own version of what I saw them doing. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do my own little spin on it. So I had some girls and some guys that was known in the industry as they used to call them the urban sidewalk models, because these were girls and guys who wouldn't make it to the fashion runways of the big guys,
Right.
but they were known for the fashion urban lines. Like
Okay.
if it was an urban brand, they was on the cover, they was in the ads, they was everywhere. So everybody knew who they was. So I had Beige, I had Tamiko, I had Abdul, I had all of the top people.
Yeah.
And they would just wear my stuff. And I had a guy, Dave Huey, who is biggest, I don't know what. He had his hats called Unc New York. He now has something going on with him and Allen Houston. They just like have a marketing company and they do so much right now with a lot of people. But back then he was just doing his little hats. So I said, won't you let the models wear your hats with my sweatsuits? And then, you know, we just branded together.
Cross-branding.
So now we're doing fashion shows. I'm in every urban fashion show. And they come like, Clem Carrington Worldwide. And they got this guy, and he's like real dramatic. And she got this, and I'm feeling like I'm on a big runway. And I'm like, oh, I'm coming out at the end of every show. Thank you for coming out. Doing my little bow. And one day, we do a show at this nightclub, and they go, these guys outside want to meet you. So I'm like, you want to meet me? Who's that? Who are they? They're like, well, we're going to let them come back here. So I'm like, okay, who is this? It's the FUBU guys.
Oh.
It is Jay. It's Keith.
What's my man? What's the main?
Damon.
Damon. Yeah.
But it wasn't Damon. It was just Keith,
Okay.
Jay, and Carl.
Okay.
So they come backstage. They're like, hey, how you doing? We from FUBU. And I'm like, okay, I know what FUBU is because now it's FUBU, it's Mecca, it's Avarex, it's all the big urban brands that's out. So I know everybody brand. So I'm like, wow, to myself, like, damn, what they want with me? So they're like, listen, you did those reflective sweatsuits? I'm like, yeah. Like, okay, well, we have a ladies line, FUBU Ladies, that we're about to launch. And we have a girl, Kiki, who's been with us forever, but we're looking for another designer to come with some flair to add to our new line that we're going to be doing. So I'm saying, okay. So I'm still like, all right, well, what y'all want? So he goes, listen, you got a portfolio? So now by me doing all them urban fashion lines, fashion shows, they used to have their own in-house photographer. So I built up a book. He would give me pictures of all my stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I got a book. He's like, all right, this is what we want you to do. They gave me an address. Show up tomorrow at this address, and we're going to let you meet with us and talk about us putting you on as a designer. So I'm like,
The
FUBU guys. So I go home. I'm like trying to add my book, make it look real. Now I'm like, I'm going to have a meeting with FUBU. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what they're going to want.
I got to be correct. And
Exactly. So I go the next day. They was in 1407 Broadway at that time. They had the ground floor showroom. So I go in there, I open up my book. They looking through. Damon come in. He walking around. I'm like, oh, shoot, the big guy's here. So he's walking around. He's looking at, they got like stuff hanging on the racks on the wall. He's like, what did you do with that? They showing me the men's stuff.
Okay.
The jersey. I'm like, oh, I'll do this. I'll turn that into a football jersey dress. I'll make it like this. And they like, okay. So then I'm showing them stuff in my book. I'm like, look, I'll put the reflectors. I'll put the tearaways. I'll make breakaways. So he's like, So then he sit down. Now he really is into what I'm talking about. So he goes, so did you go to school for this? I said, no, I ain't never been to school for no fashion.
That's the lineup.
He go, okay. He goes, well, we trying to do this ladies line. We want it to be ultra sexy, but we want it to spin off of our men's line because we want our girls to have the same vibe we give our guys, but in a sexier way. So I said, oh, I know how to do that. I could cinch everything in and make the silhouettes a little bit more feminine. So he's like, you got yourself a job. So I'm like, what? So he's like, well, you can start tomorrow. I said, hell yeah. So now I show up. I meet Kiki, who was the top designer for them at the time. And Kiki was just amazing. This girl just knows how to sew. She knows how to design. She knows how to CAD. At the time, I didn't know nothing about CAD.
What is that?
CADing is when you do your graphics and your designs on computer.
Okay.
But using Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah.
I wasn't trained to do any of that because, of course, I didn't go to school. She went to school. They all went to school, some of them. And Damon goes, well, we're going to put you in school, too. So they paid for me to go to Parsons School of Design so I can learn the basics of how to use all the, programs that they use, like the Photoshop and all of that stuff. So I'm like, cool, all right, I'll go to school, learn what I need to learn so I could be better at my craft. So I go to school. So now I'm in FUBU Ladies. I'm killing it. We having like the best collection ever. We in Macy's and 5 windows at Macy's. I'm doing like the jerseys. We doing the breakaway tearaways. We actually made the breakaways for the New York Knicks dancers. So they wearing our stuff at the basketball game. But I tell you,
qualified.
This is just like, I'm telling you the stories. It's like that happened. And then I'm at FUBU designing. So the smart thing I didn't do was I never signed as an employee for them. I said, I have my own business.
Yeah,
So they
okay.
contracted me. So I was 1099 working with them the whole time, meaning they couldn't hold me back. So now I'm on the block, Broadway. So on Broadway, it's all the urban lines. It's all the showrooms. You got Mecca, you got Aniche, you got Averex, you got Pele, you got everybody on one. But then 4 or 5 blocks is the whole fashion industry. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm meeting guys. I got graphic guys that I met. I'm like, come and roll with me. You know, I'm designing over here. I said, how much you making doing that? Oh, I make like 4 or 5. I'm like, no, you can make money. Just come with me. So I'm building my team. So I get this guy, Eric, who's one of the dopest graphic artists you ever want to meet. He's a painter as well. But this guy became like my little brother. And I'm like, you just got to do all the graphics. Anything I get, I'm giving you the graphic work. Then I meet Sherry. Sherry's an old a hippie, I want to call her, from Arkansas. And this girl was amazing with sample making and patterns and tech packs. Because tech packs is what you need when you're actually doing production overseas.
Okay.
Like when they're doing mass production on garments.
So what exactly is a tech pack?
Well, it's just the measurements. What it is when you're going to send something overseas to be manufactured and produced, you have to do a tech pack. That's like telling how wide is the sleeve.
Okay.
It's all the construction of the garment.
Okay.
So you send that with your pattern.
Okay.
To have your garment made for a sample. And then after that sample gets done, they send the sample back to you. You do a fitting and measure and make sure everything is where it needs to be, make adjustments, and you send back for a second salesman sample. And then you get that.
Now listen out there. I want all of you aspiring designers, stylists, anyone in this particular world. There's a lot of gems and jewels being dropped here very casually. You know, I'm pretty sure y'all with us because it's an amazing conversation, but please don't miss some of these little gems and jewels because these are the little things and it's little bits of information that people don't give us, right? We don't know. You got to find out on your own. You were figuring out these things on your own, or you were just finding yourself in the room constantly. Because as I'm listening to you, I'm like, she's in the room. She's in the room again. She's in the room again. Now, granted, a lot of it is a testament to your hustle and you first, like you said, coming outside and stepping off the porch and going out to make sure, okay, I want to be there so that maybe I can bump into.
Train, going to Manhattan. When people are in Brooklyn, I'm going to Manhattan on a train.
And that was like,
that's big.
That was huge, right?
You
like you're going to you're going to Manhattan. Why?
Out just so I can see what's going on. And then working in the fashion industry, I got to walk the block. You know, lunch break, I'm up the block. So
how inspiring does that even feel and look on a day-to-day basis? Because
it's overwhelming.
Like that energy, right? That energy, like, because again, I'm from Jersey and proud to be from Jersey, right? But anytime, and I've been to New York a trillion times, right? Anytime you go over there, you might have been on this block 1,000 times, but it's something about that energy. It's just a different thing. It's just a different thing. So to be there, you never felt like, you know, a fish out of water. You felt right at home. You're inspired. You're excited. You're motivated. And at this point now, I want to fast forward just a little bit because, and I don't know, you know, we can not talk about it or not. I know behind the scenes, we were having a conversation just about a brand that originally, you know, so I don't know. Listen, because
I could spin it a different way. Okay. We got to be careful legally about that.
You see how I did it. I ain't gonna say
But I know where you're going. Where you're going.
All right.
Well, so just to tap into what we were talking about at that moment.
Sure.
Okay, so now, fast forward. I get this little design team together. Everybody sees what is going on with FUBU's line. And the one thing they do in the fashion industry, back then anyway, if you hot, everybody want a piece of you. So I was, to me, everybody's best kept secret. Because this is their brand. It's not my brand. So when you see it, it's the people face of the brand. It's not me.
Right.
But they know behind the scenes who is helping do all these looks.
And they always know, right? In the industry, people always know. It's small. It's very small. And it's only a few that's running it and a few that's, you know, pulling the strings and calling the shots. They all have relationships. They all scratch each other's back.
Together.
You know what I'm saying?
Together.
And if you piss one off, you piss my man off, now I'm shutting your whole thing down and everybody they attached to it.
Definitely. So you want to treat everybody right.
Sure.
You know, because your name is everything you got. And just getting the opportunity, I said, you know what? Lunchtime, I'm going to start going to other people's showrooms and just talking to people and seeing what I can get. So, whenever, because I wasn't in FUBU as an employee, I could say I'm going out for a little bit and I'll be back on lunch break. But on lunch break,
you gonna bust a move.
I'm going to the showroom on the corner of Broadway.
See what this looking like.
See what that building got going on. I go in that building, that's a Nietzsche, that's Mecca. So I'm like, Dad, how can I get in there with them? I don't work full time for FUBU, so this means I can design for whoever I want. So what I started doing was becoming a freelance designer. So I would go to Mecca and like, boom, here's my card. This is what I'm doing over at FUBU. If y'all guys need a collection, hit me up. And they'd be like, oh, okay, you doing that over? You working at FUBU? Yeah. Boom, we gonna give you a call. I get a call from Mecca. Now I'm freelancing clothes for Mecca. Boom, I take that. I got Mecca and FUBU. So now I'm going over to Averex. Boom, Averex. This is what I'm doing for Mecca and FUBU. Oh, you the one that's doing the stuff over Mecca and FUBU? Oh yeah, we need some jackets, this and this and that. Now I'm designing over at Averex. Then I go to Nietzsche. Now I'm designing over at Nietzsche. Then I go to Baby Fat. Now I got collections in Baby Fat. And I mean, and this is no cockiness, no nothing. And anybody in the industry that knows Clem Carrington knows this to be a fact. There's probably not no urban brands that I didn't touch. And that's a fact. And I'm talking from denim collections to sweats to tees down to Sean John. And we're going to say that name for a reason. But even to Sean John. And shout outs to Blue Fame, Jamil Spencer, who did all of the marketing for Sean John. Those brothers taught me a lot about a lot of stuff. And Jeff Tweedy as well, who did all the license deals with Sean John's clothing. But I've learned so much. And I mean, like Diddy, I would never take nothing away from that dude. When it comes to marketing, that's the guru right there. Russell Simmons is the godfather, I want to call him, of just the business mind. Working over and freelancing.
Especially for the culture.
And freelancing for Fat Farm and Baby Fat. Just watching him, and he had the whole floor of his showroom. He had that whole floor was his.
That makes sense.
And when you go in there, I just felt like I was in like the polo outlet. Because that's the aesthetics that you feel in there. It's just the golf polo tees, and it's very preppy, very varsity-like. And he just sitting there with jeans and a baseball Fat Farm hat.
He's still on that. He's still on that vibe.
That was him. And his presence just made you feel like, wow, you really there. And I just wanted to just keep going and going and going. So I never really came out with my own brand because I got so sucked up by the urban brands that I kind of let the Clem Carrington fall and fade. But I was building that other name for myself. And it was just exploding and exploding. And it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing I know, I started doing like private label stuff. And now the celebrity lines are starting to take place, where all the artists are starting to get these urban lines, right? So now I'm getting introduced to that.
So like your Rockefellers or your Sean Johns,
everybody.
So Eve had a.
I'll tell you about that.
Okay.
See, it's crazy because it's crazy. So we're gonna get to the Eve. We're gonna leave her for a minute. Okay. So now they got the urban brands are coming out. So now the music, the hip hop, and the fashion is colliding. All right. So they had this show that used to come on called Video Music Box.
Of course.
Shout out to Ralph McDaniels.
Shouts to Ralph McDaniels.
Yeah, my boy. So Ralph, cool dude. We know each other through the moving around in the industry. He allows me to showcase. He's like, I want you to do your fashion in my show. And the people that's putting the show together like, yeah, we know about you. So now I get that they like bring the Clem Carrington. They don't want nobody else.
Everybody, yeah.
So they like, we need you to bring the Clem Carrington to the show. So Foxy Brown is the performer for urban fashion. I mean, the Video Music Box fashion show. So I'm like, wow. So it's called Kanai. It's all the big brands. And I'm coming out with the Clem Carrington. So I'm like, well, they putting me in the mix with the people that I already do the stuff with. So long story short, I do the fashion show. It's aired on TV. Foxy's doing the Call Kanai Minx. And it's just crazy. So I said, you know what? I don't want to stop. Like, this is just crazy. The energy is just growing. It wouldn't stop anyway, because the more I wanted to not do it, I kept getting contracts. So I was getting so caught up in this one called me, go over there. So now Bow Wow does his line called Shago. So
I do remember that. I do remember
I
that.
worked on Chicago.
That's crazy.
So his mother, Teresa, we doing this thing called Magic, which is every year. They do it twice a year. The fashion industry all go down to Vegas, to the
I
Las
thought that
Vegas
was in
Convention
Vegas.
Center.
Okay, yeah.
And you showcase your brands. So I'm doing Chicago. And then Eve, I had already met Rough Riders because a friend of mine's connected me. This is crazy. I'm going to switch it up. I'm in a beauty parlor on 125th in Lenox. And this guy comes sitting there named Jay Icepick. God rest his soul.
Rest in peace.
Right? That was my boy. Oh, my God. That was my boy. But anyway, he comes into the beauty salon. And he goes, Clem? Your name Clem, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, Clem, I see you on everything. I see all the stuff you be doing. He's like, I got my man D outside. I'm like, D? He like, yeah, you don't know the owner of D from Rough Riders? I said, no, I don't know D. He go, yeah, let me bring D in here. So he bring D. D's just like, that's my boy to the heart. That's my heart of hearts. I call him, we talk every day almost. So he goes, he come in there, he like, what's up, baby, what you doing? He's like, oh, so this is Clem? He like, I like your shoes. So he like, yeah, I see she got some fly stuff going on. So he like, yeah. Jay's like, yo, we need to get with her. She can help us with the merchandise for Rough Riders. So he like, really? He said, what you do? I said, all the FUBU jerseys. He go, say no more. He like, come up to the office on 7th Avenue.
Why you sound like him?
That's how you talk. I can relate him and DMX to a T. So he like, baby, this is what we doing. You just get your shit. Come on down to the office. So I said, all right, I'm going to come. So I go over to, they had a little office on 7th and 57th, something like that. So I go over there. They used to have like the upstairs, and there was a marketing company downstairs. So I go upstairs to Rough Riders. Now, Rough Riders, I just respect that brand. That's, if I had to say it, family out of everybody, shout out to the Locks. Those brothers treated me like family. I mean, I know the father, to the Uncle Sharif, to the sister Siobhan, the mom, everybody.
Shouts to YL. Shouts to my people from YL.
Yeah.
Shouts to Reg and Gert.
And I mean, that's one group that is really about family. They're really Swiss, being the nephew. It's so many, his father TD, their brother Poe. It's like so many of the Rough Rider family members, the real family members, that they just embrace you. Once you in with Rough Riders, you in. It's almost like, I don't want to say a gang, because it's not a gang, but they just embrace you and you just belong to them. They're not going to let nobody, you belong to them.
Yeah.
So they started treating me really special, and they was telling me about all the new artists they got coming up. And at the time, they were putting together the Cash Money and Rough Riders tour.
The Hard Knock Life tour. No, you said Cash Money.
It's two, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to get to the Hard Knock Life tour.
I got you.
So at that time when I met them, they were getting ready to do the Cash Money tour. Yeah, they were doing like a lot of new artist openings. They had the Locks, they had Dragon, they had an R&B group people probably don't even remember called Parlay.
I remember Parlay.
Used to be Parlay.
I do remember Parlay.
They had Cross, and then they had Eve.
Cross.
Cross was another artist under Dragon. And they had Eve. So now they said, yo, we want you to meet some of the artists. So I'm meeting, I already had seen the Locks from over when they was with Diddy. And then they go, yeah, we got some more artists we want you to just start doing some stuff for. So I said, well, what is it that y'all want to do? They showed me their T-shirt, the Double R T-shirt. So I'm like, oh, that's hard. I like that logo. I like the Icon logo. And they said, so what do you think? What you think? And I said, well, why don't y'all do some jerseys? Because back then, jerseys was really big. So I said, I'm going to do all the Rough Rider jerseys. And they said, well, we got Eve. What are we going to do, put a jersey on Eve? I said, no, we're going to turn hers into a dress. So I started making the Rough Rider jersey dresses for Eve.
The illest pit bull in the skirt.
I make all the jerseys. It was all about the black and the silver, like the Raiders. I made everything black, because they was all about black. So I made the black jerseys with the silver R's on it. Made her dress the white and black and silver.
Wait, you did the black jerseys with
every football jersey Rough Riders ever wore. Me and I had my friend Rich. They used to go with me to get it made.
Hold on. All right, let it breathe. Let it breathe, because this is royalty right here, right? Like, so again, Qualified Conversations is a platform for people who are, in fact, qualified. This is not your typical situation, right? This is not just your typical conversation. She's qualified, folks. Please continue.
Okay. So, back to that. So I do the jerseys for them. Lo and behold, and I put it on my phone, they wear the jerseys and they get the cover of Source magazine. I'm like, what the freak is going on? They're like, yo, Jay called me like, yo, go get the Source magazine. I'm like, what? He like, yo, your shit is crazy. It's on Source. It's on the cover of Source. So I go out, go to the newsstand. I buy the Source magazine. I'm like, oh my God. It's every jersey. Eve on a bike with the dress. I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
We all seen the cover. Look at the cover, y'all. Look at it.
Who would ever believe? And I'm just making jerseys that it's going to be on the cover of Source magazine.
Crazy.
So it hits the cover of Source. Now they like losing it. They like, we need more jerseys. They like pumping me like I'm crazy. We need 100 of these color. We want hockey jerseys. I'm making hockey jerseys, football jerseys, baseball shirts. They going crazy with it. So I make like a whole bunch. My friend Richard Bailey, he takes me over to this guy that had a small manufacturing company on 4th Avenue in Brooklyn. He can do like 100 to 500 shirts at a time. So me and him, we're ordering. I go to the sportswear store. We're ordering tons and tons of the jerseys. And I'm like, we got to go to this guy and get our stuff pressed up. We got to get our stuff done. So we making them. And at the time, it was Atlanta. And I forgot, I think it was Miami. And it was Super Bowl.
Okay.
So I go to Super Bowl with Rough Riders.
Okay.
We, no lie, it probably was about 500 deep.
I bet.
No lie. There was about 400 bikers. And it's all of us. I see people in the street, Dirty Bird, Dirty Bird. I'm like, what is the Dirty Bird? They're like, that's the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
So I'm at the Super Bowl weekend, and I've never been to a Super Bowl anything.
Yeah.
And it's just we in Miami. We rode around with DJ Clue, and the Viper, Purple Viper. And I'm like,
protected by Viper. Stand back. Like that joint?
So we just all having a ball. Eve is performing at Anastasia. And we just having like the time of our life out there. And jerseys, everybody just got the jerseys on. And I'm like, okay, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I stayed with Rough Riders like forever. I was pregnant with my son. He's 22 now. He's 22. So that's how long the stretch was. I rode it out with them forever. I ended up doing the Cash Money Rough Riders tour. All the jerseys, all the hoodies, all that stuff. Then we ended up doing the Heartland Life tour with Jay-Z. So now I'm like, oh my God, is it gonna stop?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's never gonna stop. So I'm doing the jerseys. We go out there. I remember one show in particular was in Pittsburgh. So I go out there and it's me and Jay. We in the room. We trying to sort out all the shirts for the tour. And Winterland was selling, because that's the company that sells most of the tour merchandise. Okay. Winterland kind of like, if you on tour, they the guys that's going to have all the tour merchandise. Like the artist T-shirts. You got to go through them to have artist T-shirts on any tour.
That's what it is.
But Rough Riders ain't trying to hear that. Rough Riders got their own booth. They selling jerseys. They selling Eve shirts. They selling this. They got the Rough Rider dudes out there with the shirts.
And we taking all the money too.
But that's what I love about them.
Yeah.
Rough Riders is gully. They not trying to hear nothing. DNY is like, that's what we doing, that's what we doing. They don't want to do it. And then X is in the back like, yeah, what's what we doing?
And nobody telling X no.
And then you ain't telling X no. They didn't even like X up. X is a whole nother story. He used to call me baby girl.
You're not telling X no, yo.
But I want people to know, rest in peace, because every time I think about it, it makes me really sad, because I remember, and I'm going to just go back for a second.
Sure.
The day he was in the hospital, D called me. It's like, yo, your boy ain't doing too good. So I'm like, what? He goes, nah, I don't think X going to make it. He went into cardiac arrest last night. He's doing all right. He said, and the crazy part is we was just talking to him about people. And he said he wanted to talk to you. And I said, he want to talk to me? And I'm like, D, this is crazy that this is going on. And D's like, yeah. He asked about you. I said, tell him I'm just praying. I'm just going to pray that this all turns out great and everything like that. And it was like late at night when he called. So that morning, I spoke to D again. And I was ready to talk to him. And he goes, Clem, he didn't make it. And I'm like, he didn't make it? He goes, nah, X passed away in the middle of the night. Once we left, we got the word that he passed on. So I'm like, oh my God. So, I'm like in my own way, having my own moment. Because I'm thinking about when I worked on Exit Wounds, because I worked on the Exit Wounds movie with him and Steven Seagal. And I remember every day that I was there in Canada, because they shot it in Toronto, Canada, I would spend so much time with X, and I was pregnant. And he used to be like, feed the baby, feed the baby. And then he would pray for me. This man just prayed all the time. And he would just pray, be holding my stomach, just praying and praying and praying. And we would go down, it used to be like this little bar in the lobby. And he used to be like, listen, he'd be like, any girls coming here, you sit them on my floor, because they had the whole floor locked up. And I ain't trying to blow them up. But he's be like, you sit him on my floor. So I used to be like, X, you can't be doing this, you know. He like, Clem, listen, they love me out here. So I'm like, okay. So we would be having so much fun, like just cracking jokes. He used to call Eve evening. He used to be like, evening. And he'd be calling Eve. So we would just have so much fun. And I remember that he said one time we were sitting down and he was like, you know, a lot of people misunderstand me. And I said, why do you think people don't really understand? He said, because I was born different. He said, through all the things I've been through, he said, God has always been there. Through everything I go through, God is always there. He said, when I'm ready to just quit, he said, I don't know why he talks to me. And I said, I can believe that. I said, you know, when you're really spiritually connected and you tap in, I said, you will get things like that appear. And he was like, nah, like it's different, you know. And I said, you know, X, it was crazy. I said, I remember when we at the concert. I said, you know what I was always impressed with about you? I said, everybody just be going crazy. You performing, everybody's like, ah, and then you go, I need everybody to be quiet
And pray.
You could drop a pin in a stadium and hear it hit the floor. That's how quiet everybody's waiting for this prayer. And then when he would pray, it's like the voice just be projecting off the wall. Like you almost want to think it's God because the voice is so strong. And I mean, he used to have me in tears and he be in tears. And then this is X.
Yeah,
I'm talking
super
tears.
masculine man and all of that. But
Because it was from his heart.
It was from his heart.
And that's why I said, you know, the one thing people got to realize, what you see on TV is not always what it is. I got to meet the man, the person, like his wife. They were at my wedding, and Tashira and his son, and his wife's sisters, Fatima and them. And it's like, I got to know these people on a personal level. It ain't about no fashion, it ain't about no music. This us in Arizona at the table breaking bread.
Yeah.
He riding the dune buggy all around in the back, all crazy, making dirt everywhere. We just having the time of our lives. And it's like, these are things that you can't even buy. You know what I mean? The experiences that I've had. And a lot of people might see this interview and don't even know who I am. You know what I mean? That's why I always say I was everybody's best kept secret.
Well, yeah, I mean, or, you know, one of the more popular phrases is unsung heroes, right? Like when you watch Unsung on VH1 or whatever station it comes on. Because there are a lot of individuals like you that have contributed to so much culture and are real, true main ingredients to culture that you took part in, that you were a part of.
You played a part of the history of things that were being
and this is what this is for, to not only highlight the things that you have done and talk about some of the things that, you know, you've been a part of, but to make people aware of the journey and how you navigated and how you got to, because listen, you've done all of these amazing things. And I mean, we've talked offline and there's so much more that you've done, right? I mean, we'd be here for 5 hours, right? So what I do want to do is I want to speak about you, right? Okay. Because you've done a lot for everybody else. You alluded to that already, right? You've done all of these things and you've been on tour and have these relationships and it was great, right? But then, you know, y'all are watching at home. You see this, you see this banner, right? Now, first of all, how do I pronounce this?
It's Haute.
Haute Shoe Gang.
Yeah.
Right? I see the logo. I see. Shoes. Actually, get into that, right? What is Haute Shoe Gang?
Okay.
And explain to the people what this is.
Okay. Haute Shoe Gang is my own collection, my own brand. People in the industry know me. I always wear these crazy shoes. Like I have on shoes now. Like
they fly.
I wear the most wildest looking shoes. I'm a person who loves fashion. I love shoes. Shoes is like my little addiction. So I don't know, but I'm blessed to see things finished and whole. That's probably why I used to move so fast in the fashion industry, because if somebody give me something, I sleep on it. When I wake up, I see it already done, like to the point I could get up and draw it on a piece of paper. So I was trying to figure out, what do I want to do for my own collection? What would I call it? And I was like, you know what? I like shoes. I'm all about high fashion and different styles and stuff like that. Haute means high fashion. And I said, Haute shoes. The gang is the women that wear the fashion, that love the shoes. That's what I did. So I went and I called my brother Spice, who's a great actor, and he's been in the industry. That's like my right-hand man right now. I talked to him because he's another dope graphic artist and illustrator. And I said, Spice, I got this dope idea. I want to do the shoes, and I want to make it like the shoes turn into like a heart to show that I love the shoes. And so we playing around with stuff, and I make this logo on my computer. And I'm like, I took some pictures. Those are actually my shoes. I took some pictures of my shoes, and I put them on my computer and used them as a silhouette. And then I started playing around with Photoshop, and I developed this heart. So I sent it to Spice to perfect it, and he perfected it for me. And we came up with the Haute Shoe Gang, and that's the collection. So the brand was established to be a high to low kind of fashion line that women can wear with any type of shoe, whether it's a sneaker, a designer shoe, or just a moderate whatever shoe you want to buy. So that's what the Haute Shoe Gang is all about. It's about a fashion line that women can wear from high to low. I do everything from sweats to denim. This is what I have on now.
And please, right? Because this is a piece. This is a piece.
This is what
if you may, for the camera, she designed this, right?
And it's hand-painted in the back. It has the flocking logo on it of the shoes. And then I have the flocking in the front. It's acid washed. I ripped it up a little bit, make it look a little distressed.
Fire.
And then this is the T-shirt. I had a guy out of Estelle, Georgia that I met down here. Who used to make graphics for like churches, their T-shirts. So I told him, I said, listen, you got this big company here. It's like a little storefront. He's never really done major fashion pieces. So I said, if you have all the equipment to press T-shirts and stuff like that, I can school you on how to use other fabrications to really go a step above and do real high-end printing, where we using flocking, transfer inks, all kinds of stuff like that. And he started buying all the rolls of different stuff, and he became my T-shirt guy. I wish I knew where he was now, because I can't find him. But he just
you might see this interview and then reach back out.
If you're out there, please, I've been looking for you, and you still got some of my stuff. I don't know what happened, but anyway. But he was an amazing guy, and I would just send him tons of stuff, and he would just press stuff like all night long, him and his girlfriend. And I would go like a day or two later, and he'd just have like buckets of stuff for me, like T-shirts. I had denim jackets, sweatpants. I brought a couple of things for you to see. And what made the line...
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let me get a couple
Because again, this is about showcasing what it is that she does, and we got a couple pieces here.
So this is the sweatshirt. And what's dope about the sweatshirt, it has pockets on the side, if you can see. It has pockets. And I like that he made the flocking go along the arm. Yeah, this is dope. If you can hold it. So, if you want to hold that side. He just kind of like did the flocking to make it extend across the arm, which I thought was different and dope, using that heart. At first I was a little worried because it was so big, but I said, you know what? That's kind of different that it looks like that. And he put the Haute Shoe Gang on the bottom.
Yeah. Got this on the bottom.
Yeah, and it's a nice stretchable.
It feels good. It don't feel cheap. It don't feel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I thought it was cool if women on their off day want to throw this on with some leggings or jeans and a pair of sneakers. It had like a nice vibe to it, you know? So that was one of the pieces. And then, in the summertime, girls want to get really crazy. I did like these Swarovski crystal type sweatsuits. So this is the shorts. Ladies like to bling. So this is done with the Swarovski crystal. And then he used that same kind of glittered effect to kind of tie into the Swarovski crystals. Good. And all of the fleece fabrics is really high quality.
Yeah, it feels
nice
great.
Brushed fleece, soft.
And it's I call it heavy lightweight.
Right, it's the crystals.
Yeah,
because it's the real Swarovski crystals on here. And then this is the jacket, the hooded jacket. So this was like the pieces. Fire. And what I was doing was I started doing lives.
Okay.
Selling the Haute Shoe Gang. And then I created the whole closet boutique. So I opened up, because I'm like, I'm not going to wait for somebody to put my stuff in the store. I'm going to create my own store.
Right.
So I started the whole closet boutique, which gave me the opportunity to showcase my own brand. you can't tell me I can't show it. It's
Yeah.
my store.
Right.
So I had a little online store that I would go live Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday.
Okay.
And I used to go for like 3-4 hours online selling my stuff. And it was doing really well. So this is the other version of one of my denim jackets.
See, I love the flock. See, the flock on this is
It's just
that's the win
different.
for me, right? Like, and it, granted, yes, it's a female jacket, and I know y'all are asking, and I know people are out there, or people out there are
And then I
asking.
add
Wait a minute,
little
first
flare.
of all,
This is just
before I get to that, this is fire to me because of the little
pleats.
crinkles
It
and
gives
all
it
of that.
like the big puffy sleeve
Yeah,
look.
like it's just a lot of
I'm just
personality.
cutting off the bottom and giving it the unfinished rib bottom. And the rips and the tears, I just think it takes the dressier denim that you can use it and make it more sporty. And if
Yeah.
I wanted to put it on with a black just spaghetti dress
Yeah.
and some heels, I could still get away. Like now I got it
Yeah.
on with some little latex pants and it still got that little dress.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? And I'll let you put that over there. So, you know, we've entered into the fall season. We're in the latter part of the year. Now's the time where you get dressed.
Right.
Now's the time where you put that shit on. Shouts to AB. Mad funny for that one, too, by the way. But now's the time when you put that shit on. And here's where you can see who can really dress, who puts pieces
Right.
together, who color coordinates, whatever. In the summertime, you know, dudes, you know,
It's
we
less
throw on a
clothing. It's
white
less
tee,
clothing.
you know, shorts. You know, you might throw on some slides or whatever it is, right? Women, same thing. You wearing less, whatever the case may be. In the winter, you got to really put it together.
Oh yeah, it's all
And
about the
so-
layers. The
Yeah.
layers and the big sweaters and the nice boots and the coats. You got to come out with the coats. You know,
You got to come out with the coats.
furs.
And I know that you have, and again, I know that you have like
I'ma take my
so
jacket.
yeah, please do. So we've done t-shirts, jackets, coats, all different types of accessories, right? This beautiful, lovely box right here with this same
Collector's
logo.
box.
With the same logo that we see right here. Beautiful box, right? I turn it this way. And
Talk
so
about the box though.
I have to talk about
This
the
is
box.
a collector's box.
Well, you go ahead and talk about the box.
Most sneaker boxes are off open top boxes. This is a magnetic box. So when you buy the sneaker, you actually can keep the box as a collector's item because it locks like that. And it's made of a poly, shiny, urethane PU fabric. So it's not box paper like you buy of a sneakers and stuff. So inside the box, though, I needed to do something footwear.
Okay,
Now,
right.
mind you, I've never made a footwear
Which is
item
so crazy. Your
ever.
logo has all of the shoes.
And I
you
never
love
designed the
shoes, and you
shoes.
never did shoes.
So I said, I'm gonna try my hand at it. So I'm online. One thing about me, I'm a research magnet. I will find a manufacturer. I will find somebody that can do what I need done.
Right.
So I'm looking. I come across this company that does sneakers in Italy for people. If you want to custom design you a sneaker, they do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do my own sneaker. So I stayed up one night till like 2 a.m, sketching, drawing. I'm like, I want my sneaker to be handmade. I want it to be for men and women together. I want it to be a luxe sneaker that's high end, that looks fashionable, don't look too rugged for the streets, but you can put it on with a nice outfit and go out to a club and they'll let you in the door.
Right.
So I'm like, I gotta make something dope.
Yeah.
Okay. My logo is red and black. My colors is red and black. Red means fire to me. It's the heat. I love to bring the heat. Black, me being the sister of brown skin.
Hey, now, come
So
on
my
now.
color combinations is red and black. Everything in my show, in my house, in my studios is all red and black. So I'm like, the first sneaker is gonna be red and black. So, without further ado, dun, 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 they didn't get my color right, but they got my sneaker right. So this is the sneaker, handmade soles, brush suede. This is all authentic leather, like what they use to make basketballs with. It's all piped in
Man,
leather.
I'm sorry.
And this is the Haute Shoe Gang HSG 15 sneaker. The first sneaker. I have like a patent leather
This is fire.
insert that gives your logo name there. And oh, it retails for $299. $299.
That's fire.
And if you look inside, the logo's in the tongue, the Haute Shoe Gang logos and the tongue.
That's fire.
It's a lot of details and
Yeah.
craftsmanship went inside. If you feel the inside, it's made of like this mesh kind of soft cushion if you feel the inside. And
Got the
sole,
breathability.
if you go like this, the sole is pretty solid. It's not a rugged sole.
It's thick
handmade.
rubber. Yeah,
Stitched, hand stitched on a machine. So it gave it a different look. I had
These is hard,
envisioned
yo.
it being made for the red and black sweatshirt. But
I'm
when I
sorry,
got
these
the
is
color,
hard.
because I use Pantone colors, and I forget, one thing I learned from going overseas is that everybody
hard.
uses Pantones. So you have to give them the SKU numbers for colors. This company doesn't use Pantone. So when I sent them my Pantone numbers for red, they associated with their numbers, and their number was an orange.
Oh, so that's why it got
That's
like
why
that.
the leather came out orange.
I'm gonna tell you.
But
So,
I still was like, okay.
but see, that's so art, right? Because sometimes, like, I'm not an actual painter. Like, I don't literally paint pictures in that literal way, right? But we both do paint pictures from a creative perspective. It's interesting when art throws you a curveball, and you're like, oh shit. That ain't bad.
That ain't bad. That is not bad.
That's what this is.
And I kept it, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to play around with it because I wanted it to launch. So I went online. I started launching it, showing it on my live. And my nephew, who I was talking to the gentleman about, that is an incredible rapper. I'm so mad at him because he's never really pushed his career. Kaz, Code of the Streets. And he knew a lot of people. So Old Dirty Bastard's nephew, who calls me his aunt, brought my first sneaker.
Really?
And he's like, yo, I'm going to blast this. I'm going to put this online, let everybody know. So he's doing this whole, at the time, everybody's doing these unboxings or whatever. So he calls me up and he's like, yeah, I got your sneaker. I'm waiting for it to come. So I go to my nephew's house to meet him. He's like, you got to come over. I'm at your nephew's house. So I go over there. He got my sneaker. Before I even got a sneaker,
Crazy.
he got my sneaker.
Crazy.
He like, guess what I brought with me? I said, what you got? He like, auntie, I got the sneaker. It came. I said, it came? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to do my unboxing right now with you right here.
Fire.
So my nephew videotaped. We did the unboxing of the
Fire.
sneaker. Then another young guy, because a lot of young guys in the industry, I know they call me their aunt. So I have another guy, Jeff, in New York City. And he ordered the second pair. He was working at Fight Club on MTV. So he bought the second pair and did the unboxing and wore it at Fight Club on MTV. And he sent me the picture of him at the studio at Fight Club. So the sneaker's been moving around and circulating on a lot of people's feet. A lot of big shots, regulars, everybody.
They look good. Are they for men and women?
They're for men and women.
Okay.
It's a unisex sneaker.
Okay.
So guys can
retail
wear
at
it.
$2.99, and they can get them.
And they can get them on. They just have to go to Alive Shoes /HGS15.com.
Okay.
And order the shoes, or they can go to Alive Shoes and just put in Clem Carrington.
So listen.
Then we got one more.
There is. I don't even know. Listen, y'all. There's much more with Clem Carrington. Like, first and foremost, like, because she's got really quickly, right? Because we are gonna wrap. I do want to make mention, and you can talk about it for 2 seconds. I do want to make mention, in addition to the shoes, you're looking into doing like some kind of drink.
I have an
or
energy
a
drink.
women's energy drink. Everything is so pro women. The clothing line, it's pro women. It's only
And I
for
love
women.
my gentlemen. It's just
For
that
sure.
I have to come from the women's perspective.
You got to come from the
being a
woman's
lady.
perspective.
So
she has all of the items that you guys saw. Of course, you're going to be able to reach out to her if you want some or something custom. But she has that all for women. This is the unisex shoe for men and women. This is the only colorway at the moment.
At the moment.
All right,
yes.
at the moment, it's the only colorway, but it's the perfect season. So, you know what I mean? Y'all could get fly. It's the season for that. She has a women's energy drink coming that we're actually going to do a part 2 because I really want to do a deep dive into that because it's a lot.
We can snip it because it's not ready to launch.
It's not. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not ready. It's not ready. So what I'm saying is, in the event that, or when not in the event, but once we get everything squared away, we're definitely going to come back and talk about the women's energy drink because you know
big.
I just think that's big and that's fire.
Big,
but
big. They better watch it with that
but
one.
a way that people can get in tune with you, in touch with you, your following, your movement, your everything. What is your Instagram? What are your handles? What is...
Okay, my Instagram is self-made, SELF, made, M-A-D, Mogulet, M-O-G-U-L-E-T. And the clothing, you can find that on TikTok under Haute Shoe Gang on TikTok. And I'm going to be putting up more. The website is coming. The Haute Shoe Gang Closet, boutique, Haute Closet Boutique is coming. Everything's in a mix of me creating new platforms for everything. Because like I said, I'm a one-woman show. I do pretty much everything myself, from my graphics to my banners to my this. We didn't even get into, I have a coloring book too, the High on Heels.
Listen,
it's endless.
Yeah, we're gonna do a part 2.
Just know I'm like the Black Martha Stewart of the product princess.
She does a lot.
And,
I just want to thank you, again, for, blessing us with your time, with your presence, with your story, with your journey.
Definitely.
For being a constant inspiration to everybody watching, including myself, sitting here listening. Haute Shoe Gang is the brand.
On TikTok, you can remember, it's going to be Haute Shoe Gang on TikTok. On IG, it's Self-Made Mogulet. You can go on TikTok. You'll see, I post really nice reels about the fashion and stuff like that. I did the unboxing of the energy drink on there as well. So you'll see a little bit. You'll get into my world a little bit. But I'm going to set new platforms up so that they can have its own individual platforms, from the shoes. Because I have another sneaker coming out. I have more clothing coming out for fall, as you mentioned. I have the energy drink coming out. It's just so much more coming. Listen, the sipping colors that I do for the ladies.
And we'll have the description. Yeah, make sure y'all follow. Make sure y'all stay in tune with her. Make sure y'all stay in tune with me. Make sure y'all stay in tune with this platform. This is
amazing.
Another episode of Qualified Conversations, and we thank you for joining us. And we're going to end this off like we do every single time, because we have created the content. We've done our job, right? So now your job is to make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend. And until next time, everything Rico.
Everything Rico.
Brooklyn.
Me talking gets things done. So now the music, the hip hop, and the fashion is colliding
with the same logo that we see right here.